the stream still up, or do I need to restart it?
I don't know. I just see Discord and your video thing.
Yeah, I'm saying, like, you can still see the live Discord thing?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Where the...
Wah.
As we sit here and wait patiently for fucking procs.
Where the damn perks at? Where the perks doing?
I don't know, I said give him a few minutes.
He has received a few minutes.
He has.
And we'll receive a few more, I guess.
We shall. We will give him until the clock strikes 4:10.
Then I will spam the shit out of him.
Spank that ass.
Oh,
Yeah, speaking of the devil, there
we
he
were just talking about spamming the shit out of you.
Yeah. Spank them in the pussy.
Whoa.
God damn you. Alright, so... Are you ready?
Are you ready, kids?
Aye, Captain.
I
I
can
can hear you!
Captain.
No!
Okay.
Alright, everybody ready?
So what is this?
This is an accursement that that answers a lot of Geo's Ask questions.
Yeah, that random shit that comes out of his head every now and again.
Yeah, this is the answers
Pretty
that I've...
much.
Hmm.
Alright.
Didn't know he was getting into reaction videos, but here we go.
I didn't either until I saw this video get posted. So, so, alright, let's get into this.
Oh, God.
Wait, can I even hear that? Oh no, it's muted. Let me just fix that. There we go. I can hear it now.
Wretched YouTuber. Did you really think you could escape?
Who the hell are you?
You already knew.
Oh,
You already
God,
know.
no.
No?
What do you
Be
want?
into a YouTuber.
You need to fulfill your pact.
I thought I got away from you.
Foolish widow Das, you sent away your soul long ago.
Oh,
Fucking cat girl, I never should have sold my soul anyway. Demon bullshit. No. Good evening. If you're a
Why is your
regular
clone
viewer of
on
mine,
the
your first
on the
thought-
video?
hi, Fiery.
Oh, shit,
Oh, hi,
Josh is
me.
making another weeb video again. Or optionally, the more likely response of, that's him, that's the white boy, in real. Then you probably
That's the
noticed
white boy.
Video length, and were instantly bewitched into my secret evil spell called Pure Curiosity Bait. For context, many eons ago, I made a follower goal for about 100 Twitch followers that I would make a Nekopara lore video. Now that goal passed quite a while ago, and many years later, here we are. As it happens, having fun making content that I enjoy kind of took over my life a bit, as it tends to do, and I didn't get much work done on this script. But now it's time to get down to brass tacks and finish this shit show. So creating a Nekopara lore video may
Yes.
sound like a weird thing to do.
This
After all,
shit show.
Nekopara is just a shallow, pastel-colored, fan service-laden visual novel. I'm sorry. You tend to think that Nekopara is just a weeb-bait catgirl game full of non-stop egregious amounts of both types of anime pussy?
But it has lore.
Absolute idiot. You brainless buffoon. This game is a absolute motherfucking mess of completely insane, contrived explanations to otherwise mundane questions that lead to so many horrifying suggestions. Just absolutely batshit world building. The canon of this game is something to behold, and I have beheld it. Good Lord, have I beheld it. So allow me to introduce myself. My name is Das Zombes, and I'm the world's first catgirl lore expert. For the last several years, I have spent many
About first,
hours
but
playing through every single game
Sure.
on and off stream, checking up on most of the spin-offs and the other types of supplementary media, as well as watching all the anime adaptations and taking physical notes on them in a notebook. I'm serious. There's like 12 pages of notes in this thing. no stone unturned. I even watched the 18+ scenes for the extra lore. No other reason.
There's lore in 18+ scenes.
No other
Now,
reason.
spoiler alert, there weren't many hidden lore things in the NSFW scenes. It wasn't really important that I watched it. Anyways, for those of you not familiar, Nekopara is a multimedia franchise that shows us a world where catgirls are real. However, because the game is a visual novel and questions as to the logistics of how catgirls are real will inevitably arise, they try to explain why and how catgirls exist and
Elon
what
Musk.
changes society has made to incorporate them. Now, usually the answers are simply
Slavery.
to allow the specific plot points needed for our main character to
No.
absolutely decimate this video's age rating with as little effort as humanly possible on his part. They basically just fall into his lap. He really doesn't have to do much besides exist and actually legally own the catgirls. They are property, but I'll elaborate more on that when I get to the catgirl civil rights section of the video. Yes, you heard me correctly. Catgirl
Respect
civil
my
rights.
property.
This is going to be a fun video. So before that, though, content warning. We're talking about civil rights, slavery, manipulation, grooming, bestiality, abuse, eugenics, incest, pedophilia, and finally, just a fuckload of anime. This is probably the most anime that I've ever seen in any piece of media. It's gonna be one of those kind of videos. Anyway, this game has a whole lot to unpack, and not just in the catgirl we live in a society way. Let's start off simple with how
Live in a
catgirls
society
function
way.
as biological beings in this universe. Alright, lab coat DOS here. Yes, I did buy this
I'm
lab
going
coat
to
5
jail.
months ago. I told you that this video took me a while. Anyway, let's posit a simple question. What is a catgirl?
Get that camera
Now, you
focused,
might want
buddy.
to say a girl with cat ears and maybe a cat tail, and in any other series, you'd be pretty somewhat correct in your very simple explanation, but not here. Allow me to give you the definition I have come to after months of studying this game. A catgirl is a genetically modified cat made to look like a human with cat ears and a tail, containing multiple features in common with house cats. You heard me right. They are not genetically modified humans. They are genetically modified cats. Instead of
Wait,
taking
what?
the easy route and making humans with cat-like features, they took evolution and cranked that shit in reverse and went all the way around in order to turn cats into
So,
primates, basically.
Oh,
This
this
means that
fucking-
catgirls are not
fucking
only
cat.
very far removed different species from humans, but also
Is not
likely
helping
have wildly
anyone's
different
cause.
internal chemistry. To put this into perspective,
Especially
catgirls
fires.
have an enhanced sense of smell. This is known. They share
Let it sink
habits with
in.
cats related to smelling. They have similar reactions to negative stimuli. This could be seen
Dude,
as them having
I was at
almost
work,
the exact same sense of smell as cats.
Quite literally, I was at work watching this, sitting there like on Friday, because I finally was like, you know what, I have my headphones in and I was typing on my computer, so I said, fuck it, I'll listen to it in the background, and oh my god, I was fucking in tears, laughing my ass off just listening to this.
Yeah, this is the thing.
Yes.
knows the cat's being made into gag. I was like, hold up, are we fucking cats here?
Reverse
We are.
engineering.
Well, oh god, I think we've broken one of the Geneva Conventions.
We didn't want to do
Actually, no, it
the
doesn't. No,
20%
wait, no.
on humans. We wanted to
No.
do the
hold on, wait,
95% on cats.
Oh wait, are we breaking it? Is this a war crime or like a crime against humanity?
It's a crime against
You
humanity.
say
Crime
that,
against
but
humanity.
we already have scientists experimenting on rats, so it's not like it's any different.
This is not this just because we are doing something doesn't mean it's right to do it.
Oh my lord. Alright, let's continue.
This means that they have 14 times the odor sensors as well as a vomeronasal organ in the back of their mouth. So not only would the structure of your mouth have to be changed to compensate, they would also likely need a much bigger nasal cavity. Where the fuck would it all go? Do they just have a gigaschnoz that we can't see because of the anime art style? But we'll get into the anatomical differences from
What?
humans.
Because those little tiny little
will.
dots for noses.
So, do you remember when I
Little
said
Nazis.
that the 18+ scenes didn't tell me all that much? That was a lie. Lore hides
No!
everywhere. So, behold, a full anatomical, purely scientific, and perfectly illustrated.
At least they
graph
didn't do
of a
the
cat
cursed
girl in the
picture
Nekopara
of
universe.
double set
Each
of
label
ears.
points to a notable
thank God
difference
for
from
that.
basic human biology. We will go over all of them, starting with the most notable feature, the one that everybody's talking about, the cat ears. Now, an astute eye may at first recognize that the ears mesh almost perfectly with the hair, almost looking like a natural extension of their hair. There is no bald cat girl shown in Nekopara. We have no idea what they look like otherwise. What we do know is that cat girl hearing is significantly more advanced than human hearing. This can mean that certain noises that irritate cats will also irritate cat girls. The ears are also very sensitive, but not sensitive like a pressure point or a patch of recently healed scar tissue. These motherfuckers are what I like to call hentai sensitive, which means that if you touch that spot, the cat girl makes this face. The ears provide a very unique conundrum when we think about the internal anatomy. Even on a non-anime model with normal-sized eyes, the ear canal would have to be either small enough to run perpendicular to the brain and the skull, or the brain would have to accommodate in size for the misplaced ear canals. Potentially, it could, like, expand sideways, forcing the skull to be wider, as the brain takes up spaces previously taken up by the human ear placement. Oh shit, wait, sorry, I forgot. We don't actually know if they have only 2 ears. Every single cat girl that we see, even the ones as young as 3 months old, have a full head of at least shoulder-length hair. We also never see a short-haired cat girl. This means that we have absolutely no idea whether or not they have human ears, because it's always covered by hair. Now see, this would be a conundrum in 2020, but with the release of Catboy Paradise, fucking, I don't know, 3 years ago, I'm not gonna
Yes!
we now have a short-haired cat person. Oh yeah, cat boys exist. I forgot to mention. Our savior comes in the form of
can't believe we
Sage,
called
a
this.
suitably short-haired, dilfy cat boy that leaves little to no doubt in our minds that they do in fact have only 2 ears. As far as I can tell, I am the first person to document this connection. I will take my
Scotsman is
award
not
in the
here.
mail. So the next feature, about as equally noticeable, is the
I will
tail,
take
and
my
it's much more
award
interesting to
in the
talk
mail.
about. The tail of a cat girl is an extension of their spine, and is about 1/3 of their height long on average, though the tail can differ in length and appearance with different individuals. But we'll get to that when we specify breeds. The tail is fully prehensile and seems to serve no balance-related
If it
purpose.
breathes.
In fact, it seems to serve 2 purposes,
It's a
being
thought.
like a 5th limb and being a method to express emotions. This tail can droop sadly, bob back and forth, or even become erect when experiencing pleasure. Yes, that is a real sentence. We're talking about tails here, by the way. Though that doesn't change the fact that there is a scene where one of the cat girls fillets the tail of another. Nothing will ever change that.
Oh.
Never going to be the same. Oh yeah, also, the tail is hentai-sensitive too, but you
Nice.
probably could have guessed that. There's more than one scene involving tail play, actually. It's just that that scene snuck up on me. I really just wasn't expecting it. Now, let's talk about another slightly less interesting
left
anatomical
field.
difference. The eyes. Besides the oversized eyes inherent to anime, cat girls do seem to have larger eyes than their human counterparts, though that might just be me going insane. But that's far from the only thing I have to say about cat girl
Or
eyes.
anime.
Did you know that their pupils are actually slits? This isn't really something that is spoken about in the games, but it is something that literally appears in the art, so that's helpful. This does also imply that
Oh,
cat girls have the
slits.
ability to see in the dark to a similar degree to cats. This is backed up with discussion regarding Maple peeing herself. I swear I'm not lying, it's there. This seeing in the dark also
Oh.
suggests that cat girl eyes can glow, just like how cats and dogs' eyes will glow in photographs and videos and such. I'll not really get into it, but here's some funny art that was made for me a little year ago.
She's talking under your car, thinking about
Moving
your
on,
cock.
the mouth, starting with the tongue. Cat girl tongues are very similar, if not close to identical to regular cat tongues. They have similar habits to lick things when experiencing joy, and their tongues are covered in the same keratin papillae that make cat tongues feel rough. It's basically just the exact same tongue, but it's slightly rough. It doesn't really bring up too many extensions of the biology, but it definitely is a difference. Wow. Now for the teeth. Catgirl teeth appear to be a homogenized variant of human teeth, as they likely possess anywhere from 30 to 32 of them. Most of their teeth appear to be flat human teeth, though their incisors are greatly lengthened. Though, to be fair, this could also just be moe nonsense, but I'm counting it anyways because it makes sense. Time for a lightning round so we can move on from this hellish fucking graph. Claws. Catgirl nails are harder and usually sharper than human nails, but do not possess the extendable quality of regular cat claws. Despite this, they have a habit of scratching up all your shit when bored anyways. Next up, hair.
least it's not as
Catgirls have
destructive.
hair on their heads, their tails, and that's about it. They very likely don't possess hair in any other places, not a pube nor armpit hair in sight. Now, maybe they're just really good at shaving, and maybe the cat boys are different, but we don't know because we don't see them naked. Catgirl hair appears to be a similar texture to human hair,
Thank
though
God.
it likely does have some different shit going
This
on.
is
as it
cursed.
described as softer than human hair, and
I don't know, I'm
requires
into this.
different shampoo
I hate
to wash
this.
effectively. Now for
What?
reproduction.
It's
this will be
answering
fun.
your
Catgirls can
questions.
reproduce with cat
I
boys, but
think
not
I-
humans. However,
this-
they have no
it
issue,
is.
having sex with
Oh.
humans. Despite this
Unfortunately.
fact. There is plenty of source material for this claim, and trust me, it only gets more uncomfortable from here. Another thing.
Yay!
so what's wrong, Gio? It's answering questions.
So like, go back a bit about the
Wait,
about
what?
having sex with humans part.
Wait,
However, they
what?
have no
Well-
issue having sex with humans, despite
Uh,
this fact. There is plenty of source material for this claim, and trust me, it only gets more uncomfortable from here. Another.
Fun.
Yeah.
Want to kill something now?
What? Why?
I
Why?
hate this. I hate this all.
Oh, don't worry. This is what you wanted to know.
This is what I
This
want
is
to
what you
know.
wanted.
Apparently, it
right?
gets worse.
you brought this on yourself, Gio. Don't
You know
even.
what I
Ask for the
did.
floodgate.
I did.
And when we got this, I give you this.
Yeah, this is my fault.
Other thing is that catgirls
This is-
Should have
experience
just kept yourself in the dark.
This is why you don't ask questions.
Well,
This.
I now know.
That's
You
too much
don't
the government will
ask
come.
questions about anime because then you're gonna get this.
Because then we get the answers that we crave.
stress or heat. And no,
Not so much
I would
want,
like you
but
to believe,
crave.
human females do not go into heat.
My
This
favorite
heat
side
isn't
of
really
food.
expanded upon, but we know a few things about it. One, it makes the cat girls horny when they experience it. No way. That's
When they
that's so hard
experience
to
what?
guess. Two, it affects heat isn't really expanded upon, but we know a few things about it.
Them
One,
being in
it makes
heat.
the cat girls horny when they experience it. No way. That's so hard to guess.
Oh,
Two,
heat.
it affects their restraint notably. And three, there are no negative side effects to a cat girl getting no dick during her heat. Now, in terms of internal
That
energy,
is
cats
okay.
for the
Pause.
most
Pause.
part have
Pause.
similar-
What?
That is bullshit. That is not how heat works.
Huh?
Like,
Go on.
aren't cats like supposed to be fucking violent when they're in heat?
No, they just meow a shit ton.
Yes.
Oh, that's it.
Yeah,
They're letting you know they're horny.
Oh,
pretty much. And then
Well-
when they get no action, they just keep meowing for like weeks to months on end until their heat cycle's over.
As
Oh.
as I figured out with Firey's cat.
Yeah, that's why
Okay.
she's fucking spayed. I can't.
yeah, that's why mine is.
I
Mine is also
couldn't do
spayed.
it anymore. I could not
Yeah,
do it anymore.
yeah, mine is also spayed and neutered. Anyways, let's
similar
go.
organs to humans, though cat girls likely do not have an appendix, as well as the previously mentioned vomeronasal organ in their head for picking up unique scents such as pheromones. The existence of this organ is proven with their reaction to catnip, being at least somewhat similar to regular cats, though the reason why regular cats get affected by catnip is because catnip mimics feline sex hormones, so it makes them horny.
Oh,
They
There
really
you
wanna
go.
snuggle up to things.
that's actually a
Here, it
thing.
just makes the cat girls act like they're
Huh.
drunk.
That's what they do.
Which is confusing. Because, like, why would it do that? Finally, a notable but significantly less scientific element. Cat girls universally have more agility, endurance, and strength than humans. There is an entire episode of the anime dedicated to shows of athletic ability, where we see two of the cat girls perform quite tough activities with absolutely no prior training or exercise. The primary areas of increased agility relate to jumping and running and climbing. For example, in another episode, Maple is able to climb a vertical stone chimney that is at least 15 feet tall without any equipment to help her. And Coconut is stated to be able to reliably outrun a mini truck, which tops out at around 75 miles per hour according to Google. Jesus fuck.
Oh, I can inspired by that.
Anatomy is mostly done.
She's
We
a
have
cheetah.
One more thing to discuss before moving on to easily the weirdest aspect of catgirl biology. So, catgirls, as you might see, they don't all look the same. They have different heights as well as different hair color, hair texture, and tail types. This is because catgirls all have different breeds. These breeds are honestly pretty one-to-one with real-life cat breeds. They're even named the same. For example, this catgirl, Coconut, is a Maine Coon, and this catgirl right here is a Munchkin cat. They have a very notably different physicality, different tails, and different growth patterns. This
That's actually pretty
particular idea
interesting.
of breeds is certainly interesting, but
Munchkin
it's
cat's
usually just
kinda
a way
cute,
to
though.
explain off genetic differences that are explained in humanity by ethnicity. But that's enough.
explained the
about
purple
how
one.
writers justify their character design.
Explain the Shiguri.
What breed is she?
Who?
That's the sister.
What cinnamon?
Oh dear lord, are you sure you want?
Nigga, she's purple.
What cat breed is she?
What cats are purple?
Well, time to load up the good old wiki, you know.
Lore.
Fuck, where's Cinnamon? Why is she not on here?
Oh, you mean cinnamon? I thought it was about Shiguri. I was like,
It's like, we already know what Shiguri is.
I already know Shigure.
I'm just
Scottish
joking.
Shigure.
fold.
The Scottish fold.
That's a thing.
Oh, it's that little grey thing.
We
Yes.
didn't make the Scotsman play the Scots cat. Instead, we made him play the Munchkin.
You know, with all the different calls that these cats have, it's hard to tell the difference between one cat or another.
Yes.
Yeah. And then
What about-
I don't know if he talks about Maple because she was another breed.
She's like an orange one.
She's British. She's British. What are you talking about?
Yes, the guy only mentioned
American
the
Curl.
Zuzu and the other one.
Wow, an American cat named after who's also British.
Oh.
How the tables turn.
It's funny though because all Maple does is drink tea in the fucking VN.
I believe chocolate and vanilla are not stated. Yeah. So. Mixed.
And then
Aliens.
just custom. Oh, mixed, okay.
Custom.
That's,
I mean, sure.
that doesn't tell me nothing. All right. Yeah. But yeah. So. Anyways.
Let's go back to the stupid video.
Biggest aspect of the franchise. Let's discuss catgirl lifespan and growth. Starting off
Oh.
with probably the
Oh,
single
yes.
worst
Oh.
decision
Yes.
I have ever seen in any dating simulator since this abomination came into the world. These catgirls,
Wait.
any
What,
dating
what
simulator
was that? What was
since
that?
this abomination
What was that?
What is that?
Is that fucking fate?
No, I think that's worse. Hold on.
What is that?
I need to full screen this bitch.
What the heck?
What do you
What-
mean?
wait.
Tomorrow's so
This
going.
man. Wait.
Why don't
Wait a
we-
minute.
why does it look
Wait a
familiar?
minute. He fucked her. Fucked her again and again and again. And what the hell? What is this?
What is this anime? Why do I want to watch it?
This man just went to town on her.
This man went to town with every single sibling he has.
Oh no! This is oh my god!
Like,
Home,
fucked his
Alabama.
wife, fucked his daughter, fucked his granddaughter, and then on.
Oh my god.
Like,
is it gonna be like an ugly bastard by the point he gets to
Hey.
fucking the fifth one?
Why?
what the fuck? Tomaru, dude, I'm doing a quick.
What is this
Google-
anime?
I'm doing a
What
Google
anime
search
is
on the side. Hold on. What?
He has it
Tomaru
behind him. What is that?
Sawagoe. No, no.
What is this? I'm googling it too.
Why does it say fucking for fucking school days? What? No, that's not him.
No, is it?
Oh.
No, there's no way.
If not, there's some
Here it
scary
is.
lore.
Okay, the messed up family tree overview. Okay.
The most family tree from the Overflow universe.
Oh
the-
Lord, dude!
You're
It
gonna
said-
show it with the rest of the class, Fiery.
Oh Lord! Oh,
I'm copying this shit to chat.
oh my God! No, I got
I
it.
guess
I
that
got it.
works, too.
So okay. So this is him like explaining it. Quite literally, this man has impregnated a total of 16 women. Out of the 2 were his half sisters, and 7 were his own daughters.
No. No.
He, with one of his own daughters, he proceeds to have 16
No.
kids.
Yeah. If you look
The
at the image
average-
though, Tomo Samagoi goes with Toei Samagoi, who's his actual wife, but he still fucks in away.
Why?
The Alabama. This is Alabama, the anime.
No. No.
Oh my god!
No.
Wait, and one of them is SD
Wait.
equals school days, so I think
Wait,
it happens in
over
school
here.
days as
School
well.
days.
Oh.
No
Wait,
way.
hold up. Hold
no,
up.
no, no, no.
Hold up.
This is school days.
Oh, I have to ask. Guys, isn't Overflow hentai?
Oh,
I think so.
Yeah, that would. You know what? That would explain things actually.
yeah, but this is from fucking school days.
That's
Made for people that like
Why-
Alabama. Made for people from Alabama.
Oh my fucking God.
Well, we have learned things now. I don't know.
Amazing.
Oh.
Not necessarily from Nekopara, but God, there's something worse out there.
We need to
Oh.
play these visual novels next.
No!
No,
No.
that's even
Over my
worse.
dead body? No, I'm not fucking playing that.
No. Why? No.
You didn't think it could get worse? It could get a lot worse.
You thought Nekopara was bad, boy.
Alabama Simulator.
Alright,
Came into the
And my
world.
half sister,
Oh.
and my daughter, and my daughter's daughter, and my daughter's daughter. Yeah.
Set me off more, please.
I sure love my cousin.
Shut the fuck up right now.
Platonically.
I will end your pitiful existence.
Oh god.
Oh my lord. Are we ready to continue?
Okay, I'm done.
Yep,
I'm done.
I'm good.
Abomination came into the world. These cat girls, characters that you are supposed to be attracted to, and you see having intercourse multiple times, age in cat years. On simpler terms, see this large and varied group of cat girls. You know, yeah, no, none of them are over 4 years old. See these 2 cat girls? The first 2 cat girls that our main character enters into a sexual relationship with? Yeah, both of these characters are 9 months old. Cat girls reach sexual maturity at just around 9 months, as that is when these 2 first enter heat. This means that in 9 months they grow between 92 and 118 centimeters, assuming they are all born at around 50 centimeters in height, and their growth is uniform, which we know it's not, because human growth isn't uniform. Though it is also suggested in Nekopara Extra that Coconut specifically grew 6 centimeters in a single day. Jesus fucking Christ. Well, to be fair, that could just be hyperbole.
What?
I wonder
Either
in which way.
Do you have any idea how much nutrition growth like that would take? You could probably actively see them grow. Imagine the growth pains. For the first year of their life, cat girls would be constantly suffering aching pain throughout their entire bodies. Now, not to mention the absolute speed at which they would have to grow mentally, though in some cases that's not particularly notable. Okay, I hear you. You understand that the growth is weird, but what about the cat girl lifestyle? How is their behavior any different from humans? Well, first off, their diet. Now, Catgirls actually have an almost identical diet to humans, and there are no mentioned foods that are poisonous to catgirls that aren't poisonous to humans, or vice versa. Best example is the amount of
Science.
chocolate consumed by catgirls in Volume 4. Though, this does not mean that their palate is identical to humans, as they universally adore stereotypically cat foods, such as raw tuna and cat food. Yes, you heard me right, because nothing says moe like watching an anime girl eat cat food. They do also get drunk from alcohol, which isn't too notable. I just kind of felt like I needed to include it. Oh yeah, and catgirls do have a tendency to develop insane shonen protagonist level appetites. This is likely just an anime trope included for the sake of the classic comedy that the series is known for, but it actually kind of makes sense considering how much growth they would have to be going through. In terms of behavior, most of the time they overlap cleanly with human behavior, though they seem to have notable differences that cause hang-ups in care and integration into society, at least according to the logic of the game. The most notable one is based on how they see sexual and romantic relationships, which is to say that they are nearly universally polyamorous, or at least don't mind polyamory in relationships. Now this probably doesn't actually have much to do with scientific context, despite...
I think that's like the one part that I don't mind, polyamory.
Wait, what? Why that?
Wait, what?
That out of everything else you fucking asked, that's okay. That's okay.
Xenoblade. It's because of Xenoblade. I swear it's actually because of Xenoblade.
What are you, Mormon?
Have you do you know anything about Xenoblade?
Oh Lord, threw it left field out there. Damn.
No, hold up. You
He's
guys,
like, yeah, I'm okay with having multiple partners.
We do not.
so, like, do you
We
know
do not.
anything about Xenoblade?
No.
Okay,
I want to
hold
play
up.
it.
I have to show you. I
I just know a lot of the characters are hot.
No, I have
I
to
know.
show you something. So you guys know Rex from Xenoblade 2?
We don't know anybody
Yeah.
from Xenoblade.
I want to
Okay.
play it, but I
And
don't know it.
don't
So just
spoil
explain.
me because
He's
I
like the
actually want
kid-looking
to
one.
play it. All right.
Okay, who doesn't care? Who doesn't care?
Don't care.
Alright,
Just Prox.
Okay, Prox. Check your DMs. I'm going to send. Also, I'm going to take you up with that friend request. This is canon to Xenoblade.
Oh my god, that is the full tree. Holy shit.
God, I almost thought he was fucking the giant
about the
cat and
image
the
I
bird
sent,
thing
didn't
for a
you?
second.
Yes.
Yeah, Prox. You see it?
But look at how many times Samago's mentioned
Yes.
in there, and he's even wrote his own
Yeah.
family name.
Yeah. So Prox, what are your thoughts?
That's a lot.
It is.
Wait, I thought Pyra and Mithra were like one.
It's complicated.
Oh
I
my
can't-
god.
Complicated.
I can't really get into that without spoiling Xenoblade 2.
I see.
Is it only on Switch?
What?
It's
Yeah.
only on Switch and Xenoblade. Aww.
Okay, so like all you really gotta know about Pyramithra is that basically they have split personality disorder. So they're literally the same person. Well, like they were
They
basically.
physically
hey,
transform.
Hey,
Basically, it's like
Hey.
Mithra created Pyra as a child.
Hey,
Sorry,
hold up.
shut the
Spoiler.
fuck up.
sorry.
We're
Pyra's never gonna play this. He doesn't have a
Yes,
Switch.
I do. Fuck you. I have an emulator. Fuck you.
It's not having a Switch though.
Look, maybe he's a dom or sub instead. No, he's actually just sub, let's be honest.
Yeah, we already know
What?
Pyra's a sub.
What? What? What does that have to do with buying a?
Don't worry about it.
I mean, that was a weird. Yeah, but sure. I mean, 100%. Yeah, Pyra's. Yeah.
Fuck you.
how much the game wants to tell you, and only exists so that our protagonist can dick down as many catgirls as he wants. Now, it's not all sunshine and rainbows, because catgirls do struggle in a couple things, such as, for example, impulse control. Catgirls oftentimes will purr on reflex when scratched under the chin. They'll pounce or strike at insects, small animals, or cat toys, as well as having a notable phlegm response to certain scents. This sort of behavior is one of the major plot points of Volume 1, but I'll get into that when I cover the Society of Nekopara. But before we get into that, though, we'll need to cover
They
a
live
few
in a
more
society.
things. The first of which is the large
Society.
display of catgirls that appears within the games. This will lead into more discussions of biology, but let's cover them one by one, shall we? Starting off with the two main girls of Volume 1, Chocola and Vanilla. Chocola is a
Chocola.
dark-haired mixed breed cat girl that
Count
honestly
Chocola.
really shows her age in the mental department. As in, she's a completely fucking worthless dumbass. She is unable to read kanji, speaks like a young child, and is mostly incapable of doing physically demanding tasks such as waiting tables. Now, normally I would say that this half-hearted attempt at moe comedy is bad writing, but according to the wiki, this level of stupidity is actually fitting, as she and Vanilla are only 9 months old. Speaking of Vanilla, as previously mentioned,
she's
the
smart.
other 9-month-old cat, but contrary to Chocola, she is actually a passively
I hate how he
character,
says her name.
using the notably low standards of Nekopara, that is. She's more like a poorly constructed ball of 3-ish tropes with some mildly entertaining dialogue. Those 3 tropes being kudere, tsundere, and siscon. She is a white-haired
What?
mixed
Wait, what?
cat girl and is the biological sister of
Siscon
Chocola,
too?
which
Didn't know
really
about that
puts
one.
certain-
Well, yeah. She,
I mean,
her and Chokler are like this. Like what?
Oh,
yeah,
good point.
yeah,
Like what?
yeah.
scenes in questionable context, but baby, at this point, the context is nothing but questionable. Next, 2. Husky, short, angry munchkin cat. Oldest of the bunch, still only 3 years old. Cool, love this series. Next up, Coconut, giant fucking Maine Coon, 1 year old, has heterochromia. Also calls the protagonist Oni-chan. That's not a weird dynamic at all. Totally normal. Sick character writing. Echo works.
Yeah.
Next 2 cat girls.
Heterochromia.
First off, Maple. She's a snooty American curl and actually kind of a normal character. She's the only one that
But
actually
she's
picks out her own
American?
clothes and is seen as
No,
the
the
mature
cat
one
that
of the
she
group.
is called an
Next
American
up,
curl.
Cinnamon, the Scottish fold with absolutely giant fucking titties and a chronic problem of being the most
Yes.
annoying character in the game. Her only joke, the only joke that she does, is that she gets horny. That's it. That's the only
Yes.
thing that she does. Every time that anything slightly sexual, or even something that's not sexual at all, is mentioned, she will go into heat and just absolutely start to drool over everything. It's so annoying. I hate it. Anyway, there's also 2 more, but they're not part of the main crew. First off, this is Milk. She's a Russian blue and
Wait.
is 7 months old. She
Oh,
may
they
look very young,
mentioned
but be aware
Coconut
she
already,
is
right?
only 60
Yeah.
days younger than the
Yes.
2
I
that the main
missed that.
character has
Fuck.
regular intercourse.
Bruh, how?
God damn it, you better not be playing another game
Oh.
again.
I am.
Pay attention, fool.
All right,
We're
I
not
will.
even
Coconut.
voice
Alright.
acting this time.
Like
Go.
bruh.
Munchkin cat, oldest of the bunch, still only 3 years old. Cool, love this series. Next up, Coconut, giant fucking Maine Coon, 1 year old, has heterochromia. Also calls the protagonist Oni-chan. That's not a
Oh,
weird
now I
dynamic
remember.
at all.
Yeah,
Totally
I-
normal. Sick character writing. Neko works. Next 2 cat girls. First off, Maple. She's a snooty American curl and actually kind of a normal character. She's the only one that actually picks out her own clothes and is seen as the mature one of the group. Next up, Cinnamon, the Scottish fold with absolutely giant fucking titties and a chronic problem of being the most annoying character in the game. Her only joke, the only joke that she does, is that she gets horny. That's it. That's the only thing that she does. Every time
Yes.
that anything slightly sexual, or even something that's not sexual at all, is mentioned, she will go into heat and just absolutely start to drool over everything. It's so annoying. I hate it. Anyway, there's also 2 more, but they're
I have
not
a hard
part of the
time
main
giving
crew.
that one up.
First off, this is Milk. She's a Russian blue and is 7 months old. She may look very young, but be aware she is only 60 days younger than the 2 that the main character has regular intercourse with. Yay! Finally,
Yay.
Grace.
Soon
So, I mean, she's
She's
gonna
a
have her
French cat
1 day
girl and
growth
a
spurt.
chinchilla
Holy-
Persian. She's really not that interesting. Now,
That
let's
design
discuss
actually
how
looks
breeds-
very good.
But these, she looks so nice.
She
Volume
kinda
4,
looks like me,
baby.
like-
Volume 4.
She looks. She. It's a good character design. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh yeah,
Well, I was
she's
gonna
like
say
Nye-
you looked like who?
Neanners.
Yeah, I was gonna
I
say
thought I had
Neanners.
that.
yeah.
Well, like Neanners before she started face revealing again.
Neanners, but with a shittier personality.
No,
Hey, did you know
no,
Neanners-
no,
did you
no,
know Neanners
no, no.
started
This
face
is
revealing?
this would be Nyanners,
She face
but a
revealed
better
a million years
personality.
ago.
No, but like she's doing it again now,
Yeah, I know.
and like it's
Yeah,
good for
it's-
her. Good for her. You know.
Sure.
Like,
I
she's
missed
built
it when we had that sneak peek of her doing that face reveal and then deleted the video.
It was free real
She
Yeah.
was fucking hot in that video.
Yeah. No, but like honestly, like
She's
I can
pretty good
understand why
looking.
she didn't do a face reveal for a little while, but like it's good for
Oh,
her
yeah.
that like she's building up the confidence to do it. Good for her.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
like growth and anatomy. Yeah, okay, this is going to be a real short section because it's kind of obvious. It's pretty one-to-one with actual cats. Breeds usually determine height, tail shape, hair color, and hair texture. Best examples are Azuki and Coconut. Bam, I don't even
But
need
then
to say
Cinnamons
anything
makes
more
no
than that.
fucking
It's
sense.
real obvious. We have absolutely no idea about whether or not breeds apply to skin texture. Every character is the same skin color. Because this is an anime game. Black people don't exist. Only people with Finally, the last thing in the biology.
Oh my fucking god!
Yeah, thank you.
Damn,
Thanks.
son.
Wow.
Thanks, Japan.
Yeah, thanks, Japan.
This is what Japan.
The half the
It's
population
best.
doesn't exist.
Yeah, there's no, what are black people?
Oh,
Never heard of them.
Oh shit.
trying to get me canceled in fucking 2023, bro. Shut up.
This
Well,
man
come
would
on,
have got
you always wanna
himself
go for your
canceled with
fingers have
that.
a certain tower joke in them too.
No.
Hmm. Hey man, he said it, not us.
Just saying, anything goes.
Exist. Only people with slight tans. Finally, the last thing in the biology section. I mentioned it earlier. What the fuck are catboys? Is anything different? Well, we don't actually know if Catboy Paradise is canon, but catboys are confirmed to exist. They're just comfortably out of sight because the only attraction here is towards women. We can't have hot men that can reasonably challenge our main character's protagonist with his harem. That would rile up the fans. They can't have that. I kid, but there are absolutely no shown catboys outside of Catboy's Paradise. They do exist, though. As far as I know, they're just surprisingly boring because they're just catgirls, but they're boys. Who could have seen this coming? Everything that applies to catgirls also applies to catboys outside of
I don't know, I like
obvious
Dill.
things like genitalia and a bit of their physicality.
The Rizzler.
Oh, okay. Right. That does it for the biology section. Is anybody else getting tired of seeing
That was
my
a
mug?
painful.
I'm just kind of tired of.
Well, it
holding
wasn't
this
nearly as
microphone.
painful as
I'll hand
fire.
y'all over to
but
voiceover DOS now.
It was painful.
Hello and welcome to the next section of the video, the series recap. In this section, I am going to speedrun talking about the events of the series.
What's volume 0?
Stay with me. This will be rough and not
A
particularly
prequel.
well
That's like
done.
the prequel. It's like
It's
2 or 3
mostly
hours
just
long.
irrelevant
If you read
content
it
that I
properly
feel I
quick.
need to include in a video explaining.
So what you're saying
Nekopara.
is it'll take us half a year to do
So-
that one.
We already did Volume 0. Volume 0 is done.
Is that the one where he gets the girls?
That's when he first found chocolate and vanilla in a box.
That's volume 0.
That's Volume 0. Volume 1 is them getting
Going
set
to
up
eat.
for the thing. Or setting up the cafeteria, or cafe, whatever.
Cafeteria.
My brain's not working.
Bakery.
Thank you. The bakery, or the patissiere, or whatever you want to call it, fancy word.
Cafe.
And then Volume 2 is the other two cat girls. Volume 3 is well, he'll explain it. He'll explain it.
So, starting from the top, this is the Minataki household. It holds
There you
a
go.
long line of Japanese confectioners, the current generation being Kasho Minataki and Shigure Minataki. Kasho is approximately 25 years old, and Shigure's in that nebulous anime age where if the writer specified, they'd likely go to jail.
She's a
Don't worry,
500-year-old
what
demon
you think
goddess.
might happen, doesn't happen. They also have 6 cat girls.
There you go,
In
Gio.
order from oldest to youngest goes Azuki, Maple, Cinnamon, Coconut, Vanilla, Chocolate. We described each of them earlier. I'm not going to do it again. Kasho has a bit of a struggle in his day-to-day life.
That's what he
See,
looks
wants
like?
nothing more
Yes.
than
Yes.
to bake Western sweets, but his father's a big old grumpy dude who
Yeah, he's
wants
not,
him to continue
uncle.
the family business. On the other hand, Shigure is a total fucking creep with a brother complex so intense and overpowering it causes her to need medical attention several times throughout the story. She has her own section. We'll get to her. The first game of the timeline is Nekopara Extra, in which Chocolate and Vanilla have just been adopted into the family. Now, this may look like it takes place several years before the main story, but keep in mind, they are only 4 months younger here than they are in the first game.
Good
Fully aware of the
God.
problems.
I'm
In
cap-
Nekopara
damn.
Extra, nothing interesting really happens. It's almost entirely just a story of Chocolate and Vanilla getting accepted into the Minataki household. It's a multiple quotation marks wholesome backstory
Wait.
game. Next up in Nekopara Volume 0.
Wait a minute.
There's a game called Extra.
Yeah, we'll do that probably eventually.
We already did it. Wait, hold on. I got a bad feeling that we skipped one.
We skipped extra.
We skipped extra.
How long is extra?
Not even like 2 to 3 hours long.
We could just do it. We could just do it next week.
The intermission.
Yeah, intermission.
Podcasts.
Did you guys start off with 0?
We did 0.
That's why I want to look. I don't think we did.
I don't even think you guys did 0. I thought you guys just did 1.
No, we
No,
definitely did something before 1.
We did 0.
Was it OVA we did? I think it was.
Oh dear lord. Okay. Well, okay. No, we did volume 0 in 2.5 hours.
That's
Okay,
that short.
So, yeah.
It is short. And we got it, but we were still sidetracking a little bit. Not as much as we do now, but still.
Huh.
So yeah, we need to do extra. Oopsies, I am behind. I done fucked up.
Well-
Anyways.
Yeah.
Nothing happens, but it's like an hour shorter. Finally, Kasho does the thing that starts the plot, and he moves out of the Monarchy household without telling anybody. He packs up his shit and leaves to a bakery across the city that he's started up. Kasho's bakery is called La Soleil, meaning the sun in French. It was also a name taken from the French bakery he interned at in France. Kasho just kind of wants to live on his own for a bit, away from his family, but unfortunately, God is not so merciful, and he received 2 large boxes of his store that he didn't ship.
The cats must
These
come.
boxes contain the 2 cat girls, Chocolate and Vanilla. At first, Kasho is determined to send them back home, but they unfortunately insist on staying.
This is
Nothing
volume
really
0?
happens here until
This is
Shigure
volume
shows
1.
up and reintroduces herself into her brother's life to his vast misfortune. From there, they go on dates, and La Soleil is filled with new workers, you'll never guess who, and we add 2 cat girls to the tally of girls Kasho has had sex with. Volume 2 has us learn a little more about
Yep,
the world,
it's all gonna get
primarily the
worse.
attitudes of cat girls towards their predicament. Hint, hint, Azuki is the only one that shows any form of issue with it, and it's played primarily as a joke. Sure, but we'll get into that later. Coconut is depressed, and Azuki has image problems. Kasho solves both of them, and the solution to both of them is sex.
Yep.
2 more
Yep.
of the tally. Volume 3 is the longest of every single one of the games,
Oh,
and it's probably
God.
my favorite to actually play, because it's actually kind of well written, though it does have the tail filating scene in it, and it isn't skipped if you don't have the 18+ patch. It stays in the game. Besides that, though, this volume focuses primarily on the musical journey of Maple and Cinnamon, as they learn to overcome the stigma towards catgirl artists and make themselves known. Wow, that's minorly lore important, as it focuses on the catgirl's role in society, unlike
Shit.
literally everything
Yeah,
else.
it's gonna be good.
This volume does also semi-confirm the fact that catgirls can be bisexual at the very least, though unfortunately the 2 characters that have that sort of relationship are stepsisters, so it can't all be good. Anyway,
Oh boy, and I'm gonna be
Kasho
acting one of
helps
them.
Maple and Cinnamon
Oh.
get up on stage, and they reverse racism by being good at singing. He has sex with them, and we add 2 more to the tally. All ends well, as you could expect. Volume 4 focuses almost entirely on the drama within the Monarchy family, so it doesn't really matter for us. We'll get into it when we get to it. No girls are added in this one, and that brings us more or less up to speed. Fucking psych! We still have to talk about Catboy Paradise. So, sometime before Nekopara Volume 4, NekoWorks released a little April Fool's game called Nekopara Catboy Paradise. I mentioned it earlier with Sage, who's one of the Catboys that shows up in that game. But the debacle of this game is entirely in whether or not it's actually canon, because this game has several things that make me question its canonicity. First off, it's an April Fool's game with no ties to any of the characters seen in the main series, but also, there's just a lot of lore inconsistencies, such as, for example, the Catboys not having bells but still being able to walk outside, which could be something that properly exists in this universe too, but overall, we're not talking about Catboys, and therefore, I'm making the executive decision as the single known scholar of Nekopara lore to deem this entry of the series non-canon, because that means I don't have to write more script and actually study Catboy Paradise.
I
and
don't
make
think
a
it's
theory
canon
about it.
either.
Anyways, now that that's out of the way, we can start to talk about probably the most fucked up part of Nekopara lore. Though that's honestly a subjective statement because the age thing is probably the most off-putting part of it. But like, anime has done weird age stuff like that before. What it hasn't done before is make an entire societal system that is so fucked up and insidious that it spawned this video and then shove it to the back and never actually explain on it ever. Yes, the society of Nekopara is
Here you go,
truly,
Gio.
in my opinion, the
Yes.
most disturbing part of this.
Oh
entire
no.
game. So let's get into it.
Oh
Alright,
boy.
Before we discuss how society treats catgirls, we should probably discuss what a catgirl is again, but this time in the legal sense. So, catgirls are sentient entities with free will and the ability to have their own agency, at least biologically, right? They're just as smart as humans and have the potential to become functional members of society. Well, unfortunately, the government in the Nekopara games would have to disagree with you, because despite this, the catgirls are second-class citizens. That's right, you heard those words come out of my mouth when referring to the catgirl game. Catgirls are in a class of citizenship where they are technically pets, despite their obvious sentience. But before we discuss what owned catgirls are able to do, we should discuss strays. The life of a stray catgirl is very similar to the life of a stray cat. You do not have clothes, and you are not brought up with the ability to speak. You are
Wait, no
treated
clothes?
as an animal
Damn,
by
naked
society.
catgirls running around.
You have to steal for food. You are
No.
by all means considered a
Bad
pest.
nerd.
Police officers round up stray catgirls and put them into pounds. Presuming that those pounds have the same culture as modern pounds, including euthanasia, you heard me right. This is subtext in Nekopara. They never say anything to counter any of my theories here, presumably because I'm the only person who cares about the lore in this catgirl hentai game. Anyways, what happens if you're not a stray?
Yikes.
Well, depending on the household that you're brought up in, you can either be raised in a similar method to a cat, or almost as a child to the homeowners. Apparently, being taught to speak at all is rare, only really being a luxury afforded by the richer catgirls whose owners have time to raise them like children. So you're essentially a human child, but you're in constant growth pains, as mentioned, and are an adult by the end of the first year. And then you have to live in a society where you're treated as a pet. But how far does that go? Well, let's start with the most obvious. A young catgirl cannot leave the house alone. She will be treated as a stray and taken into custody until her master comes to collect her. She cannot work. She cannot leave the house on her own. By all means, she is just a cat that can sometimes speak if she's lucky. Despite this, catgirl abuse is still a crime. It's quoted at several times throughout the series. Notably, it's quoted alongside the fact that it's gotten better. Presumably, catgirls are a recent phenomenon that people have gotten more used to, with there now being tighter restrictions to stop people from abusing their catgirls. This, on top of people with lower economic brackets knowing the financial strain of a catgirl before they get them, because as mentioned before, it's like having 18 years of a child in food and clothes within 1 year of time, considering how much they eat and grow, that is. But say a catgirl isn't being abused and is in a loving household. How can she get more independence? Well, that's where we reach the crux of the first volume, the Bell test. So within that first volume, Kasho's goal is to take both of his catgirls and turn them into legal adults, because they definitely aren't even when aged with cat ears. This game is real fun. He does this through a few methods that I'm not allowed to speak about, as well as getting them to do their Bell test. The Bell test is a test that is required for all catgirls in order to get them their bells, which is kind of like a state ID, but even worse. Imagine if every time you were seen outside without a legal guardian, you would be arrested if you didn't have an ID visibly on you. That is the world that these catgirls live in, except permanently, because bells can expire and need to be renewed. A bell, or an independent action permit, is a necessity for any catgirl that wants to become independent. It's needed for pretty much any action that is not directly under the legal control of the catgirl's owner. It acts as legal identification papers on its own, though to be fair, there are also actual catgirl identification papers. But the bell is also an accessory that needs to be worn at all times, or they will take the catgirl into custody because she'll be deemed a stray if she is seen alone without it. Also, the exam to take it is completely absurd. Okay, so hear me out. Imagine you're walking in to get your state ID, and you talk to the guy, and he's asking for your legal name and your address and all the stuff you need, and then just in the middle of a sentence, he throws a fucking right hook at your head and then stops right before he properly hits you. He pulls back and goes, "Ah, sorry man, you flinched. I can't give you your ID." That's the kind of shit we're talking about. Bell exams are tests to examine how domesticated a cat girl is, which is already a really worrying sentence on its own. It is suggested that there is other, more normal test questions involving things like security and traffic and potentially some basic knowledge stuff too, but those aspects probably aren't too intense because Chocula, who can neither read kanji nor count above 10, is able to cleanly complete the test. Domestication is measured by a whole bunch of different factors, almost all of which are base instincts that all cat girls have that humans don't. The main thing that is expanded upon in regards to the Bell exam within the games is the fact that it's designed to check impulse control. Cat girls shouldn't do things like chase butterflies, purr automatically when scratched, or I guess use their tail to show their emotions. All of these natural behaviors are seen as unacceptable, and you are not given a ability to restrain them to a great extent. An extent that is shown to be quite hard to reach, as only 10% of cat girls actually pass the exam. Again, something shown to be mostly among those in power who can afford.
This is kind of fucked up.
Cat girls.
Yeah, welcome to the hard life of a cat girl. It ain't
Welcome-
gonna get any easier.
welcome to going
Country,
like deep
for example,
into the
French Bell
lore.
exam is quoted to be harder. All right, so hear me out. It's gonna get a little bit weird here, but what if the Bell exam is actually a method to keep cat girls down? It's a tool of oppression designed to be arbitrary and strict to the extent that no cat girls are ever allowed to be fully independent. In order to integrate with human society, even on the basest level, you need to stop being who you are and become more like us. If we catch you slipping up, even after you have your bell, they can just revoke it, because follow-up review exams are mandatory. Each cat girl needs to maintain their status as a being with rights, or they are seen by society as an animal. Even to the few that manage to break the mold, they're still seen that way. Imagine if your driver's license defined your ability to be a citizen. Compared to a bell-less cat girl, a belled cat girl does have a lot more rights, but again, society still sees them as pets. They'll never truly be their own individual. It's like being a child forever. You're not allowed to do anything truly on your own. Your legal guardian, your owner, resides over every choice you will ever make until the day you die. Cat girls, even ones that manage to come close to integrating with society, are property, and if they're not owned by someone, they're not allowed to exist outside of police custody. There's also, of course, cat girl racism, as in there are buildings that don't allow cat girls to enter, and Maple in particular experiences a lot of stigma with her musical career in Volume 3, as I mentioned. But let's step back and talk about what it's like to own
I get to
a
be
cat
Anki
girl
in
from the
Volume
human
3.
perspective. So on the surface level, owning a cat girl is somewhat similar to having a daughter, except she acts like a cat most of the time and grows at a similar rate to Bamboo. Owning a cat girl would be like speed running having a daughter. You know all the difficulties of puberty? That's happening over 2 months total. You know the terrible twos? That's a month. Raising a cat girl would be the process of raising an infant to a teenager at around 20 times speed. It would be a nightmare to deal with, but hey, when you're not dealing with 20 times the angst, you'd have to deal with training the cat girl to function. Most of the training to get children to act like normal people takes years to do as their brains develop. You'd have to do all that in a short period of time when they're done developing. Keep in mind that the Monarchy family is a really good example of the perfect cat girl environment. They're rich, they have a giant house full of food, and have 4 people willing to work together to raise cat girls. Imagine how many single owners or small low-income families bought a cat girl and just couldn't raise it because of the financial and emotional stress. They don't say this is the reason why, but it is said that cat girl quality of life was horrible in the past, and it's just now getting better as of the time of the Nekopara games. So, say you successfully raise a cat girl for the first year. What happens when you have an adult? Well, you now have to deal with an adult dependent with a lot of hoops to jump through if they ever want to join the workforce. A pet that is functionally an adult woman, that's some anime shit right there. Also, keep in mind that the cat girls we see in-game are only so smart, or most of them at least, because the Monarchy family had the resources to
Always
tutor and
Chocula.
educate them in a
Chocula is
to grow up
fucking
to be
useless. She's
functional
like
adults.
Aqua.
If both caretakers had to work at all, that would not be possible.
I don't know, so far
Which
Cinnamon
means that
feels
most
like, or
cat
not
girls
Cinnamon,
are gonna end
Coconut
up being
feels that.
capable of reading at
Nah,
best.
Coconut's
tell
trying.
you
No, see,
Bob.
Coconut is trying to be useful.
Yeah, Coconut's at
But
least
fails.
trying. Chocolate
Aqua's
is
just like, Chokol is just a fucking dumbass.
Because ooey 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 ooey.
little.
Oh dear.
Offhandedly in the games that several cat girls can't even speak properly, if at all, because they just weren't ever taught proactively to do so. So you have an adult woman speaking with the comparable vocabulary of a 2 to 3 year old, all while acting like a feral cat. These types of cat girls will probably never join the workforce. It's like owning a caveman and calling them your pet. The Bell exam is a product of this societal issue. It's because the Nekopara Society treats cat girls like pets instead of independent functional beings that the Bell exam needs to exist. Because you can't depend on every cat girl owner to raise a cat girl that can function in human society. But hey, you might be wondering about the whole deal with the cat girl sex, the fact that this is a hentai game. Yeah, well, it just so happens that it is completely legal to take a cat girl as your, well, you can guess.
Wife.
Sexual relationships with a cat girl are surprisingly not stigmatized at all, despite, you know, the fact that the only ones we see aren't even a quarter of the age of consent. Oh yeah, on that topic, in Nekopara Extra, it suggested that there is no age of consent for cat girls because a random villager asks if Kasho is taking the 2 children with him as his cat companions, which is, by the way, the name for this particular type of gross relationship where one of the cat girls' legal owners takes her as a sexual partner. This is a fun video. God, I sure hope this doesn't irreparably fucking annihilate my analytics. But hey, if my channel must die, I would have it die in the way I see fit. Talking about cat girl sex. So to reiterate, cat girls are a race of human-like cats that experience accelerated growth, reaching sexual maturity at around 9 months to a year, but just slightly longer than regular cats who experience it at around 6 months. Cat girls were genetically modified to fit into human society and serve as second-class citizens, or more accurately as pets. Stray cat girls are taken into custody merely for existing, and if a cat girl wishes to become even slightly independent, she needs to complete a very difficult test, which tells her to suppress all of her natural
Twitter
instincts,
figured out
and which
this
only
game.
about 1/10 of the total
We're
cat
gonna
girl
get
population
canceled.
ever actually succeed in. Most
Twitter?
cat girls are raised enough
Screwed
to
Twitter.
read, speak properly, or function on their own outside of basic animal instinct.
This
So
society
now
is
that
a
we
whole
have
new.
that all lined out, let's discuss a more detailed example of a cat girl lifestyle, specifically those that we see on screen. Let's discuss the Minadakis and their example of an ideal cat girl life. So as mentioned before, the Minadakis are an upper-class Japanese family with an expansive home and 2 nearly adult-aged children with nothing better to do but adopt and take care of several
Wait,
cat
Sugar
girls
is an
at once.
adult?
They are, without a doubt,
Yes.
the perfect
Yes and no.
age for a cat girl to be adopted.
500-year-old
Unknown
holy
age.
There's
goddess.
plenty of space.
No.
There
Don't
is
drink
also
fucking-
no money or attention problems, as the loneliness that could come from being the single cat.
See, my idea of Shigure is because she takes so many pictures of the cat girls, and I guarantee you she has an Instagram or like an OnlyFans just for the cat girls to make money.
You know what? I wouldn't be
Like-
surprised.
Cause like in volume 1, he doesn't do well on his first couple days as a pastry thing. When Shigure comes over and posts about it on social media, everybody came
Huh.
to the point
Yeah,
where he actually needed the other 4 cat girls to work at his store because of how busy it was.
Slavery.
Wonderful. Am I right?
Moving on.
Girl in a family is negated by there being 6 of them. They are raised with
So
more
are
or
you
less
implying
proper
that she's in
education,
high
and their
school
family
or an
has a
adult?
plenty of hand-me-downs as the cat girls
I
grow
want
out
to say
of their
high school.
clothes.
I don't
There is never any
I don't
issue
think
But
with
she
this
has so much
property.
time to hang out with this fucker. I feel like she has to be an adult.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but
And,
we don't
like,
know when
She had
the
a whole
time
ass
period
day to
is.
go take
We
them.
don't-
100
She had a
guys,
whole.
500-year-old holiday, remember?
Remember, Shigure is the one who takes the exams with them.
Yeah, she took them to it, and that took like multiple days.
Yeah, Sugar Ray's loaded.
Well, they had to go to Tokyo for that. They had to take the train to go to Tokyo to take the exam.
Yeah, but that means you're not studying, right?
Well, they had to study there.
No, but Shigure is not studying.
Wait, we haven't gone to the Sugar Ray section, have we?
No,
about to.
no, wait, no.
That's
We're
probably about to.
oh, yeah, we're almost there. You see this? You see this long bar down here?
Yeah.
Yeah, the
See,
next
this
long
is-
bar.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
probably
this,
that. Yeah,
this
oh,
bar
Lord.
is the Shigure section.
Oh lord.
They have
Oh,
as
Lord,
much
she
as
coming.
they could want from their owners and their siblings. But think of how unrealistic this is. How many families will have this much money to spend on catgirls? How many of them will have children willing or able to take care of catgirls as their main hobby? You're essentially adopting a child, but without child protective services existing at all, and also you have to deal with one hellish year of growth instead of the 18 pretty bad years of growth. The Monarchies are a very convenient lens to view the world of Nekopara through, because they show us a world in which there are no societal struggles. The Bell exam isn't a monumental rights-preventing oppression mechanism, it's just another thing for the catgirls to do when they reach a certain age. There is no catgirl abuse that we see, there's just the Monarchies and the young catgirl owned by the person who runs the takoyaki shop, who is being brought to work so her owner can properly take care of her. Plus, once Kasho, our protagonist, moves out of the house and starts his own pâtissier, all the catgirls have convenient jobs lined up with their own master, and also they all start to fuck him. He takes 6 catgirls as his
Yup.
catpanions, who he also raised more or less as his sisters or daughters. Yep, fun.
Man's got all the stamina.
Kasho's a bit of a shithead.
Apparently.
Because he's, as mentioned, fucking the people he legally owns, but at least they seem happy about it. The reason why the Monarchy example is such an interesting one to look at is because of the fact that it's so undeniably perfect for the catgirls. There is very little manipulation, and they get to live out their lives as functional members of society. If functional members of society that are legally owned by someone for the rest of their lives without any hope of being free unless their owner dies, in
Lug.
which case, well, we have no idea, but they'd likely just become a stray if they couldn't find another owner and would get taken away by the police. But wait, there's another member of the Monarchy family that we haven't spoken at length about yet. Well, I've done that for a reason. It's time to talk about Shigure Monarchy, who... Actually, hold on. Let me put on my tinfoil hat here. Who I think is the most evil character in the series by far. So indulge me for a
wrong.
moment on my unhinged rant within an unhinged rant as I go through the Shigure section.
Yes.
Tinfoil hat Das here. I hope you know as I record this section, I have a tinfoil hat on in real life. Here, I'll even like try to jostle it and try to get it to make some noise.
Oh my god.
I hope that sounded right. The only reason this is a voiceover segment and not a live action segment is because I didn't feel like it. So, Shigure Minaki,
I wonder why.
what's her deal? Well, Shigure is the youngest child of the Monarchy family, suggested to be around the age of 14 by the time of Nekopara Volume 1. though
Oh.
Technically, it's unknown,
Oh.
so
Technically
don't
unknown.
quote me on that. If they ever do, confirm it. Shigure is a generally well-composed Japanese girl that seems to be responsible and normal to most people. She wears a kimono most of the time and seems to be the closest thing the catgirls have to a mother figure, which is kind of fucked up considering that she's Kasho's sister. But also, Kasho is the closest thing they have to a father figure, and I'm not gonna get into these dynamics. So, let's just sweep all the uncomfortable implications under the rug and continue onwards. Shigure's main personality trait is pretty obvious because it's the only joke they ever tell with her whenever she's on screen, and that is that she's absolutely fucking obsessed with her brother. Like, so obsessed. To tell you how obsessed she is, this young girl stalks her brother to the extent that she seems to have either psychic premonition or a spy network to constantly know where he is. She is capable of stalking him internationally and follows him to France, even learning French to more effectively stalk him. In terms of physical symptoms of her obsession, she has been observed to literally be incapable of calming down without him there. She seems to get a little bit too excited when being pat on the head. You know what I mean when I say that. And she also almost dies of blood loss from a nosebleed after being kissed on the cheek by him at one point. She bleeds to
Oh,
the
we
extent
saw
that a
that.
pool of blood
Yep.
is stated to form. This girl is completely fucking nuts, and she's apparently been like this since she was born. This behavior is never rationalized or explained. She's just like this. Now, honestly, none of this would be a problem if she was just regular insane. Unfortunately, Shigure is also insanely manipulative. First off, in her own family, she has been shown to be willing and able to lie to her brother and manipulate the catgirls to get them into sexual relationship with him. The main and obvious
Oh.
lie she tells is in Volume 1, and it is the lie that Chocolate and Vanilla will die if Kasho doesn't give them a medically approved dose of dick while they're in heat, which is not true
What?
at all. And it is confirmed not to have been true.
What? That can't be true. That can't be real.
I think it is actually.
It
Oh
is.
my god.
It is.
She's like,
So-
so she really just goes like, yo, Kashu, she's like, yo, Nisama, I need you to give Chocolate and Vanilla a good dicking or they'll die. Okay, bye.
No, I think he tells them
So-
that, not him.
So quite literally, the way she explains because like it was their first time getting in heat, and this is the first time he has to deal with it. She basically says you have to please them to get rid of it. That's so basically he's telling the truth here. Like you have to please to end it.
It's a yes or no.
Oh my god.
So he just
Today I
chooses
learned.
false consent.
Oh, anyways.
Dick while they're in heat, which is not true at all, and is confirmed not to have been true in that very volume. She has also stated to have convinced Chocolate and Vanilla to sneak into La Soleil in the boxes, so her brother wouldn't be able to escape her. Oh yeah, and later in the series, it is also stated that she has pushed the other cat girls to make efforts to become Kasho's catpanions, likely as a way to live vicariously through them. Gross.
Oh
Also,
my
not to
God.
mention, she seems to be normalizing the incestuous behavior within the Monarchy family. Kasho seems more and more comfortable with her downright sexual harassment of him, and even begins to see it as endearing later in the series, which is
No.
not good. So she's proven to be insane and manipulative within her own family. How could this get worse? Well, what if I told you she was absolutely loaded and very influential? Yeah. Shigure has proven to be insanely rich despite being in early high school probably. Her main feats that prove her wealth include having the money to build 5 new rooms onto La Soleil without much trouble, entirely out of pocket, as well as being able to construct an entire Wipeout-esque obstacle course in her backyard for a fun off-gag in the anime. Not to mention the aforementioned likelihood of a network of agents paid entirely to spy on Kasho. Have I mentioned the fact that the Monodikis are confectioners, by the way? Where the hell is a girl of this age getting all of this money?
Yeah, where the fuck is
Well,
she getting that money?
It's never really explained, but all of
You're
this does
asking
suggest
now.
something sinister.
I'm telling you, it's her fucking OnlyFans for the cat girls.
Probably.
She's a social media influencer.
I
Yeah.
Oh,
guarantee
it's
you.
social medias.
She's got an Instagram. She's got like an Insta. For
Oh,
sure. She's
100%
Going to be on
Insta,
Insta.
Twitter, you fucking name it, she probably has it.
yeah, probably.
You're breaking your boy.
Beneath all the anime nonsense. So hear me out. Tightening my tinfoil hat. Shigure has to have a plan, right? It's obvious. Why else would she throw all the cat girls at Kasho if not for some ideal scenario to come out of it? While she initially says that her plan is simply to have all the cat girls fuck her brother because she thinks it's cool or something, I don't fucking remember. But it could be that her goal is more insidious. So what if she's crafting this exclusive setting where sex is everywhere and notably in the family to normalize this sort of incestuous weirdness that one like her might be able to take advantage of? Not to mention the fact that she's using cat girls for this. People she legally owns, and while we don't have confirmation, likely have very short lifespans similar to cats. So she has her brother get exceedingly used to the companionship of his catpanions, and
Oh, yeah, I didn't say how
then
long
they
they
die a couple
last.
decades later.
Normal
What happens
cat
when that
use.
30-something-year-old man loses not 1, not 2, but 6 romantic partners in the span of a couple years?
No.
Well, he'll probably go seek more companionship to fill the void, and that's when Shigure can strike, taking her emotionally destroyed older brother for herself and finally getting what she wants without having to force anything. She's
Oh.
proven to be manipulative before, and we know that Kasho already has a lot of boundary issues, so what's to say she doesn't have something like this planned? She clearly doesn't care about the boundaries her older brother does set, considering how often she steps over them, but realistically, that's just a theory, and there's no fucking way NecoWorks is ever going to do that. If they do, the series might actually have even a little bit of passable writing or conflict, and
Wait,
we
what?
should pass off all this uncomfortable shit as just
Conquest
like foreshadowing to an
ending.
evil twist. But there's no way NecoWorks is gonna fucking do this or anything
Sex.
close. Nekopara is way too successful for them to do anything risky with it. But it's my fucked up headcanon, and it makes the game a whole lot more fun to analyze and play.
He's got a point there. He's got a point,
It
actually.
does sound legit.
He's got a
seems
point
legit.
there, actually.
It seems, but it's got a point.
I mean, yeah, because like everything that leads up to what he said so far is like pretty canon so far. So him saying that, it's like, oh my god.
Until they release what, volume 5 or 4 or whatever.
Volume 5.
Well, I'm still waiting for the gacha too.
Wait, there's gonna be a.
I think that got
sorry.
canceled.
I think that
Rip.
I think it did because Yostar has not published anything about it. Except it's still on their homepage for whatever fucking reason.
Rip.
Maybe, I don't know. Maybe they just got a tight lip on it. I don't know.
Like nothing was said for the last few years about that, but
Maybe they're too afraid to reveal the true part of Shigori.
maybe. Anyway,
It's a
Analyze
Yeah,
it.
it turns out it's a multiverse story, and Shigeru's the main antagonist.
Hmm.
No.
Into the Shigure verse.
Shigori.
Taking over the family, taking
That's-
over the
that's-
world.
That's a set of words that you should have put together.
I hate.
I
you.
am very sorry.
Maddening.
Oh, no.
All right.
At last, we reach the end of our quest, the conclusion. I've told you about the horrors of Nekopara, the societal oppression faced by its race of genetically modified cat people, the incestuous undertones perpetuated by one of its more conniving
The
characters,
Khajiits.
and the very strange dynamics hidden beneath the veil
has words.
of anime nonsense. I hope you understand that this video has been in the works for long enough that writing the word conclusion in the script almost made me collapse from relief. Anyways, now that we're here, let me re-describe
Until Volume 5
Nekopara
comes
in
out and then
context
makes
with
part
what we've
2.
learned. Nekopara is an anime dating simulator that takes place in a world where genetic modification has resulted in a race of cat people that serve as pets to humanity, with barely any freedom to exist outside of servitude. The story of this game focuses on a more well-off family, as Kasho Minadaki, when attempting to move out, is stalked and coerced by his sister into entering into a sexual relationship with all 6 of the cat girls he grew up alongside. While it may all end in the series on a happy note each time, and while the conflict may center around simple things like music and feelings and always at least a little bit of sex, this is a hentai game, the hidden truths beneath it all belie a reality we are only seeing the pastel-colored tip of. Now, to be fair, NecoWorks absolutely did not have to write their game this way. They could have just made the cat girls regular people who Kasho hires, or I don't know, works alongside, but they're still cat girls, so you still get the fetish bit, instead of just like having them be his pets, but also siblings and daughters at the same time. That part really wasn't necessary. They could have also made them age like regular people, instead of making them like infant to toddler age. So, why did I do this? Well, to be truthful, this video was a project that I had planned all the way back at the genesis of my channel, before my channel actually ended up finding its niche. My high school friends and I used to talk about Nekopara because it was a
Wait a
funny
minute.
anime game. But when we actually all like played it together, we all sort of
Wait a
keyed
minute.
in on the horrible suggestions the lore was making about
What?
That sounds like something we're doing.
Yeah.
We're only on the beginning stage.
Yeah, don't
Step
worry.
one.
Pretty soon we'll be the ones making shitty. We'll be the ones making shitty videos about this.
Yes.
What do you mean? I already am. Look at my fucking YouTube channel.
Yeah, we're already doing this. What do you mean?
Yes.
We're on about adding a podcast in. We are all the way there. Anyway.
Pretty much.
Basically, podcast right here.
I mean, yeah.
we all sort of cued in on the horrible suggestions the lore was making about its world. If any of you are actually watching this, sorry I made you all wait so long, but it's out at last. Only took me a couple years.
Good job.
For context, the script document for this video was created on March 17th, 2021. In fact, while I was making this video, wait, hold on a minute. No, it can't be. You lie. While I was making this video, Nekopara announced a new game called Nekopara, featuring dog girls. The game's description states that it's an isekai, or another world story, with a protagonist warped into this world of dog girls. Now, I'm too tired to do a damn thing about this. I'm not even going to analyze the trailer. It came out on April Fool's, so I really hope it's a joke. But Catboy Paradise also came out on April Fool's, and it's a real game, so it doesn't look like it is a joke. Anyways, I hope you learned something. This video is absolutely going to get demonetized.
Whatever.
Like, if you feel like it, you can go watch my other stuff or give me money on my mostly inactive Patreon, or you can join the channel membership, I guess. Anyway, thank you all for watching. Hell is real, and I live there. Sorry I kept you all waiting so long, if you ever even were. All right. Bye-bye.
Oh my god.
We're not done
All
yet.
right. Was that enough for you?
Wait, what?
Are you satisfied with that? Can I go?
Oh no.
No, your pact may be complete, but you will never be free of me.
Oh my god.
serious?
Woo.
I already did what you asked.
There is still one more thing for you to do.
You're not gonna make me wear cat ears.
Are you sure?
I'm not doing it.
Damn it.
This is literally fire.
Damn it.
That's funny. That's actually what I think. Like, I'm not wearing cat ears. Damn it.
Damn it.
Damn it.
But who's the girl in the video?
What do you want to know?
Right here.
Cat girl demon voice.
You can dare.
Wait,
feel
Yuka. Wait, Yuka dear.
Yuka Bear.
That's a VTuber.
Wait,
I know
is that
that
you?
That's
That's
the
the,
V. That's
is that
that
the Australian girl? The
I
pan.
believe
the,
so.
She's awesome.
Huh.
This
Here
one?
it is.
Why is this the fucking preview?
Son calls me mommy. She is the meme.
Oh
I
lord.
follow her on Twitter, and she's cool.
But yeah, there,
Yeah, she's
there you
fine.
go. I guess I should say go subscribe to him because this shit was fucking hilarious. Oh my lord. I know I've watched. I believe I've watched this. I feel like I have watched this before.
Oh, there's a school live review. Oh God.
Where
Yeah.
he probably goes down that weird family tree.
No. This
No,
is
different.
This is different. So basically, this is like a shonen anime where basically it's like a everyday school life, except
Yeah.
it's in an apocalyptic setting. Except she fucking hallucinates that she's in a normal everyday school.
Huh.
That's interesting.
Wait, no. Is that the one I think it is, in where there's an apocalypse outside and she's in a regular school?
Yes.
So you said
She
Oh, I've seen a
hallucinates
bit
it.
of that.
She hallucinates
I did
her
not feel
being.
comfortable watching that.
I didn't either. I watched the first episode and I'm like, what the fuck? That was all a
I was like, I'm
hallucination?
never coming back.
I was like, no.
Yeah, I was like, I'm never coming back to that.
That's no. That was, Lord, that was fucking. Oh, that's bad. Anyways, congrats, boys. We made it. So Gio, any more questions?
Oh, we find one.
No, none.
It answered all your questions.
Yep.
Now are you done asking dumb questions?
Wait, what? They're not dumb questions.
This is this is why you don't question anime, because you get this.
Yeah.
Have you
Why do
learned your
how
lesson?
do people find this time?
Now, have you learned your lesson, Gio?
Yes,
I don't believe he has.
Yes, Bobby.
I've learned.
Good.
That
If
we
this-
live in a society.
Oh God. What
If you
the
if you ever ask questions again, I am linking you this video.
fuck?
I will stop the voice session and I will send you this video in DMs,
Oh God.
and then we will go back to recording.
Oh, yes. I understand.
Yes.
Good.
For sure.
Anyways, well, I guess that's it. Y'all are
Thank you for
free to do whatever.
Thank you for watching, everybody. Thank
Oh man.
I'm surprised. Like, this is the first time we're actually finishing early.
subscribe on the video. And please watch that guy's channel.
Hell yeah!
Yep.
Support
The
this
zombies.
motherfucker.
Hey,
Support
wait,
him.
have you guys? You actually? Do you guys want to watch more videos? Have you ever heard of Mother's Basement?
Let's watch memes together.
No. Wait, Kyrie, do you know who I'm talking about?
No.
I know who Mother's Basement is.
You do?
No.
Yeah, they
I
did a
don't think
video on Trails at some point, I think.
Wait.
I know they
what?
they did like several videos on SAO, and I kind of just like to see them shit on SAO because it's funny.
What mother? Wait, what is it?
Mother's Basement Mother's Basement.
Oh, dear
SAO.
Lord. What is this?
This is like he basically just shits on SAO. It's the fucking it's great.
What the fuck? What? What is this?
SAO done right. Agreed. That was SAO done right.
SEO Ironcrad was the only good arc. I'd be.
I liked SAO alternative.
Which one? There's like 17.
They're all just pictures of the elf girls.
Do you want to do
ass.
the fixing Alfheim one?
Oh, dear.
Alfheim was a mess.
I've given Reki
He-
Kawahara
I
a
hated
lot
Alfheim.
of shit over the 2 years
What
I've
is
Also,
been
this?
on
let's
this
full
channel, and I'm
screen
going
this.
to
Oh, we
keep
have full
doing
screen-
so
full screen
because they
this shit.
keep making movies and TV shows based on his terrible, terrible books. Although, just as an aside, I am genuinely looking forward to SAO Alternative Gun Gale Online because Keiichi Sigsawa is one of the best writers in the light novel industry, and I think he can actually make something decent out of Kawahara's leavings. With that said, I see one comment pop up over and over again every time I dump on SAO and Kawahara's writing. I'd like to see you make a better anime. This is a common response to criticism of any.
I'm gonna go
What you're
real quick.
saying
I've
isn't
already
valid
seen this, so
because
I'll be
you
right
couldn't
back.
Make something
Okay.
better yourself. And I hope I don't have to point out why it's bullshit. Criticizing art requires a totally different skill set from making it. I can't play a single note on most musical instruments, and the only thing I can really sing well is show tunes, but that doesn't make it any less valid when I say that the blend of elevator music and fetish pandering in Nekomimi mode is absolutely insufferable. But the thing is, while it's not relevant at all to my ability to critique the series, I do also think that I can write a better story than Kawahara did. I mean, my cat rolling around on my keyboard could write a better story, but still. Today, I'm going to put my money where my mouth is by fixing the part of SAO that is almost universally regarded as the absolute worst, even by
Please
the
be
fans,
as soon as Drama
the Fairy
Llama.
Dance arc. Speaking of money, obviously I would need a lot of it to make any level of anime production, let alone one as visually polished as SAO, so obviously I'm not going to be creating a whole new show from scratch for this. Instead, I'm going to be working with the same basic premise and major story beats as the original, except towards the end. I won't be creating any new characters to fill gaps in the plot, partly to make things easier on my editor, and partly to prove that I can write circles around ol' Reki while still working with all of the same building blocks. And yes, before anyone leaves this comment, I know that this is basically what SAO Abridged does, and they do it really well.
Yeah.
However, my goal isn't to create a well-plotted comedy, it's to transform SAO from a bad drama into a good one. So I think the solutions that I arrive at will be a little, well, actually a lot different from theirs, especially looking at what they've already done with the first episode of this arc. Speaking of that episode, I don't think I'd actually change that much about it. Yeah, it's melodramatic and Sugo is cartoonishly evil, but it sets up the plot of the arc decently enough, and having a full episode set outside the virtual world is a nice change of pace for the show. I would extend the timeline of events a bit, since 2 months is an absurdly short rehabilitation period for someone who's spent 2 years wasting away in bed, and for other reasons I'll get into later though. The meteor changes start once Kirito actually enters the game. Fundamentally, there are 3 huge problems with the fairy dance arc, the elephants in the room, if you will, but before we talk about those, I'd like to address a smaller problem. A much smaller problem, but one that's just as bad. Yui.
No, Daddy, that's annoying.
I've already made my thoughts about Yui very clear when I talked about the moment that ruined SAO forever, but as dumb as the way they kill her off is, the way they bring her back is even dumber. Kirito creates his character for Alfheim, logs in, glitches outside the starting area, and then he just opens his inventory, finds Yui's crystal, and then taps it once and suddenly she's alive again. No hacking, no coding, he hasn't even made any attempts to extract her data from his nerve gear in the months that he's been awake. He just logs into the game, remembers she exists, and then tap, poof, girl. Then she turns into a pixie because reasons. Not only is this hand-wavy nonsense infuriating on a logical level, it's also a clear signifier that Yui has no actual purpose in this plot, aside from being cute and spouting exposition. Even though you'd think having a system admin AI from SAO would be pretty useful in a game cloned from its engine, they don't really run with that. So, let's run with it. In our new version of the story, once Kirito touches down in Alfheim, he has an anxiety attack brought on by the confusion from the glitch. Plus a bit of PTSD from going back into VR after being stuck in it for 2 years. Sensing this distress, Alfheim's version of the Cardinal system sends an emotional support AI to help him, a pixie-skinned clone of Yui. Detecting abnormalities in his character profile, this support AI then scans Kirito's inventory, reading and deleting his unknown items one by one until she scans the item containing Yui's data. Because this isn't actually an item, but rather a disguised AI backup file, the AI loads it as a supported file format, and her personality and memories are overwritten with Yui's. This isn't just a change for the sake of making the story make a bit more sense. It also serves as an early indicator of the fact that ALO is a sloppy reskin of SAO, which will come into play later in our version of the story, and gives Yui a greater narrative purpose than just moe and exposition. Although I'm sure some of you will argue that there's no greater purpose than moe, and, well, you're not wrong. With that solved, let's move on to tackling the 3 major problems with Alfheim in order from least to most important. Starting with... Part 1. Incest. A lot has been made of the character of Suguha, aka Lifa, and her relationship with her adopted brother and cousin Kirito. Hardcore otaku are pretty desensitized to brother-sister or cousin-cousin incest as a story element since it comes up an awful lot in anime, but for most normies and people in general, the idea of any kind of romantic relationship between the Black Swordsman George Michael and Sylph Warrior Maybe is, well, it's a bit off-putting, to put it mildly.
I betrayed the feelings I had! I betrayed the love
Oh no, it's the dub.
Hey, what you trying to say to me?
The dub actors are kind of unhinged.
I'm not
like
just
in
throwing
bloopers,
an Arrested Development reference in here for kicks. SAO doesn't play the incest thing for laughs, but it is aware of how creepy it is. Unlike, well, basically every other anime that does this, the actual text of this story isn't really pro-incest. It doesn't present a Suguto ship, or whatever the hell you degenerates call it, as anything desirable. Sugu is acutely aware that her feelings are wrong and will always be one-sided, and her character arc in this season is mostly about moving past them. This is literally the only meaningful character growth that anyone undergoes in this entire 11-episode arc. It's the only thing that comes even remotely close to working. And it's about a sister who wants to bang her brother, so that should really say something. Now, I don't think that it's inherently bad to have a story that deals with uncomfortable subject matter or emotions. Actually, I'd argue that it can be a good thing. And conceptually, the idea that
Kinda
Kirito
weird that
changed
she has
so
a
much in
window on
SAO
her
that
door.
his sister saw him as a different person is an interesting way to mark his growth as a character. So I'd keep Sugu's crush on her brother in the story, creepy though it may be, but there are still two problems that need to be solved with it. The big issue is that the show objectifies the hell out of Suguha. Every other moment that she's on screen, whether it's IRL or in the game, the camera and animators conspire to highlight how cute and sexy she is. Which is almost the default practice for presenting any woman in anime, but let's not crack open that industrial barrel of worms today.
Yeah.
Whether or not you think an emphasis on fan service is a bad thing in general or just good dirty fun, here it is absolutely a problem, because Kirito, our audience surrogate character, is supposed to have zero physical attraction to his sister, yet we, the audience, are essentially forced to see her as desirable by the way the camera guides our eyes. It's a contradiction between direction and writing that undermines the story that's trying to be told. If you absolutely need to, you could arguably keep the Lifa fan service, since Kirito doesn't know she's his sister until late in the story, and that could make that a more uncomfortable revelation for him, but I'd prefer to focus on writing over direction here, so let's leave this at that. From a writing perspective, the important thing that needs to change here is how the story follows through on Lifa's character arc. In the story as Reki Kawahara wrote it, she never actually gets over her feelings for Kirito. She just accepts that he loves Asuna and joins Lisbeth and Silica in the awkward, technically not a harem that stalks the two of them everywhere, expressing constant jealousy over their relationship. While it would hit many of the same beats in this arc, from their kendo match at the start to the final duel before going to save Asuna, my version of this story would end with Suguha and Kirito properly reconciling as a family, and Sugu definitively moving on. If I had to spitball a symbolic way of showing this, maybe after they do that weird waltz in the sky thing in the last episode, Sugu hands Kirito off to Asuna for another dance, smiles, and then goes to dance with Rekon, that green-haired embodiment of "why don't girls like nice guys" posts, whose real name I can't remember or be bothered.
No!
Or she could just be happy being single and independent. Call it Sword Art Online actually progressive. Either way, as long as we strip any elements out of this plotline and actually end it, I think it works. Now we just need to fix everything else.
Part 2. Everything else.
The second big issue with the fairy dance arc is that, well, not a lot really happens in it. Not enough to justify its length anyway. If you boil it down to just the essential story beats, the plot of the arc goes like this. Kirito discovers Asuna is trapped in the World Tree in Alfheim Online, so he goes to save her. In the game, he meets a fairy girl named Lifa, and together they travel to the tree to rescue her. Along the way, they discover that they're actually brother and sister and have a fight. After reconciling, they fight their way to the top of the tree, Kirito saves Asuna from Sugo, and they live happily ever after until the most convoluted murder plot in human history begins a few months later. Simple enough, right? Give each beat about one episode, and you've got a tight little 6-part arc. Except that whole they meet and travel to the tree thing takes 6 episodes in the anime, and involves a pointless diversion where Kirito goes to save the leaders of 2 in-game factions from General Eugene, the best player in the game, who is basically never relevant to the story ever again. All because the story had to be split across 2 light novel volumes for maximum profit, and Volume 1 needed to have an action climax. The whole story of Lifa and Kirito traveling across the land being chased by salamanders isn't necessary at all. The only impact that it has on the plot is that the 2 factions show up to help Kirito later, which could be justified in a million different ways, and spending multiple episodes slowly meandering through the world kind of steals all of the urgency away from Kirito's quest to save Asuna within a week. You could cut this whole plot entirely and lose nothing overall, but giving Lifa and Kirito more time to bond is good for her character arc, and I like the challenge of trying to repurpose a crappy story into something more meaningful, so here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna change the order of events. In our new version, Lifa and Kirito head straight for the World Tree after leaving Sylph territory. Maybe they get into a scuffle with a few salamanders along the way. The fight on the bridge, while pointless, is a pretty fun battle, but within 1 or 2 episodes, they reach the World Tree. There, things play out mostly the same. Yui detects Asuna up in the tree, they fly up to get her but can't get through the barrier, then Kirito rushes into the raid dungeon and gets his ass handed to him by the Guardians because, you know, it's a raid. Of course one person couldn't beat it on their own. That would be stupid. Now, here's where things start to diverge. Kirito doesn't just try going into the fight again with just Leafa and Salad Bowl cut here by his side, because it's a raid dungeon, and he'd have to be a total goddamn moron to think that 3 people could do any better against it than just 1. Instead, when they ask Rekon for help, he tells them about how the Sylphs and Catseed will be meeting in a few days to plan a raid on the World Tree for themselves. Kirito and Leafa go to the meeting location to ask for the raid group's help, but see Eugene on the way to attack it and intercept his army. With everyone together, instead of lying about being part of a secret Spriggan Undine alliance for no reason, Kirito just straight up tells everyone they're the truth. He's the same Kirito who saved everyone in Sword Art Online. He suspects that the 300 players who haven't woken up yet are trapped in ALO, and he needs everyone else's help to beat the World Tree and save them. This is when Suguha realizes he's her brother, so she starts freaking out. The leaders of the 2 peaceful factions believe Kirito and agree to help right away, but Eugene isn't convinced. He challenges Kirito to a duel to prove his identity, under the pretense that the real hero of SAO would be able to beat him. Because that makes a lot more sense than just fighting one guy and then deciding to send your whole army home because you lost to him. He also has an ulterior motive. As the strongest player in Alfheim, he craves a challenge and thinks that maybe the legendary Kirito can give it to him. But this poses a bit of an issue because of one more key change that I haven't mentioned yet. In our version of this story, Kirito isn't very good at ALO.
Part 2.5. Jesus-kun.
The fairy dance arc marks the point
I mean,
where
they're not
Kirito
wrong.
completes his transformation into Jesus-kun, going from being an actual character with a little bit of depth to a living meme that rules over all virtual worlds. Until this arc, Kirito was more or less just another guy. Yes, he had unrealistic hacker skills and he was stupidly good at SAO, but he was only good at SAO. And it was justified by how much time he had to practice. And even at his peak, he wasn't necessarily the game's best player. Heathcliff posed a serious challenge to him. Asuna was stated to be his equal in combat, and even Klein was almost on his level. But then he enters Alfheim Online, figures out how to fly within minutes of starting the game, and gets to a point where he can school the best player in the entire game after less than 2 weeks
actually
of
really
playing,
fighting anyone.
despite the game having 2 systems, magic and flight, that totally changed the dynamics of combat, and that seemed to take a lot of time for most people to master. That, to quote a certain science-obsessed YouTuber I know, makes no goddamn sense. In our revised version of this story, Kirito just can't figure out how to fly without the controller. Like, not at all. He's actually worse at it than most noobs. Leafa tries to teach him, but after 2 years controlling a human body in SAO, imagining extra bones on his back just goes against all of his ingrained VR instincts. So he ends up battling with a major handicap, having to fight with his controller instead of being able to dual wield or wield a big sword. He's also pretty slow at reciting magic spells at first, but he picks that up much more quickly with Leafa's help. In our version of this story, Kirito only manages to win the fight on the underground bridge because it happens in a no-flight zone, and thus he can use his full SAO ground combat skill set against opponents less used to fighting that way. And while he has a few moments of desperation while fighting the Guardians, where he uses his wings on their own instead of the controller, it's not enough. So going into a fight with the best player in the game, Kirito has no guarantee of success. He's actually at a significant disadvantage. You know, like he would be in any version of this story that doesn't use moon logic. Just like in the anime, as the duel begins, our Kirito is losing pretty badly, but it's not just because of Eugene's totally broken special sword. he's still flying using the handheld controller, basically using training wheels, and he can only use one sword as a result. Plus, his flight is slower than it should be. The turning point of the fight is similar in that Kirito turns the tide by equipping Leafa's sword after using shadow magic, but in our version it's a bit more momentous. Because in order to grab the sword, on top of using illusion magic, Kirito has to toss aside the flight controller, let go of his lingering hangups from SAO, and finally wrap his head around the mechanics of Alfheim Online. This turns what was just another moment of Kirito being a badass and kicking some guy's butt into a genuine triumphant moment of growth. It gives the fight a purpose beyond just letting the plot move forward.
Technique.
And there's one more wrinkle. By dual wielding, Kirito manages to avoid losing the fight, but he doesn't exactly win it. Instead, he and Eugene, both giving it their all, take out the last sliver of each other's health at the same time. The fight is a draw, but Kirito fought well enough to prove his identity, so Eugene and the rest of the people there all agree to help him raid the World Tree. Having Eugene help with the raid makes him feel less pointless, and on top of that, there's a key point of uncertainty in our plot now. If Kirito couldn't even beat Eugene, can he actually win against whatever's at the top of the tree? After this, Kirito would have to deal with the fallout of realizing Leafa was his sister, which would play out the same as it does in the anime. And the next day, everyone meets up, they fight their way through the Guardians, and Kirito finally gets to where Asuna is being held. Which brings us neatly to our final and most important
This
fix.
part.
Part 3.
Part
Asuna,
3.
what the hell did they do to you?
Asuna
They
was
massacred
arguably
my
the best
girl.
character in the
Yeah, when she went
Fullmetal
from
Sword
being
Art
good in
Online.
Iron
That's
to being
really
terrible
not
in
saying
this.
That's her only competition,
I
but
know.
fine.
He's
But
like-
she was
I
definitely
still
cool,
stand by that. I think she's,
independent,
like, the
driven,
best
and
part of that
genuinely
SAO.
skilled at the
I will
game
say
to the
that.
point that even
I just wish she kept the ironclad part of I'm a strong independent woman who complete the video.
Yeah,
Like-
I really wish they kept that, cause like that really fucking like had me sold for Asuna
Like-
best waifu.
Yes.
Kept
I
what? Kept
ti-
what?
Asuna being the best waifu in season 1, and then
I
fucking
mean, she's just the best character in season 1, man.
Yeah, but it's best waifu and character, but then they just ruined her in that fucking Alfheim and
They
made her
turned
go,
into a
"Ah,
fucking
Kirito,
damsel in
Kirito,
distress.
Kirito."
Have you guys seen you guys have seen the abridged, right?
yes,
Yeah.
And like how the abridged Asuna is just the fucking
dude,
best.
abridged Asuna is like she'll fucking
She's
chop
a-
your dick off.
She is no. She won't just chop your dick off. She will chop your dick off, put it in the stove, and cook that shit.
Like,
And then she will unflinchingly look you in the eye as she eats it,
I know it's. I've
and
seen.
she will call it crunchy.
Like, oh man.
Oh, and then she'd also probably do the same for your fingers.
That's-
And your dog, which we know she will do.
Oh.
Oh, you haven't seen the most recent one?
What?
I haven't watched anything after
Yeah, in the most
like,
recent SAO abridged, she threatens to eat someone's dog.
I haven't got around to watching Alfheim abridged, I don't think. I need to sit down and do it all.
Yeah, in the most recent Alfheim abridged, she threatens to eat someone's dog.
Kirito.
Oops.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to sit and watch through those because I am
You got
interested.
it.
Like,
Dude, it's fucking amazing.
I watched this.
Yeah, I watched that too.
That shit was hilarious. But yeah, I haven't seen ALO abridged. Like,
Alright.
when's the last time I watched it?
You're probably similar to me where you probably last watched it at the end of the fucking bait line.
No, I watched a couple. I've watched a couple.
Nah.
I think I got up to 14. That's that, and then you gotta go to ALO. Yeah, yeah. I think.
7 years ago. I didn't realize how long it's been.
Yeah, 6 years ago.
That scares me.
Fuck.
Oh dear lord.
I got into anime about 7 years ago, and Breached was one of the first things I found.
Alright.
Funnily enough.